Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's Tracey DAviero from Your VA Mentor, and we're here tonight with Gretchen Breuner. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Gretchen. As much as I know about her, I know a little bit more about her than she probably even knows because she used to be a client of one of my clients. And so I started to see her name. I do client care for a lot of my clients, and so they're business coaches, speakers, authors, all that kind of thing. And so anyway, I saw her name coming across my computer often with the various things that my client was doing with her. And so, the names become quite familiar to you. And then time passed, and then all of a sudden this name popped up in my inbox again. And of course, I knew exactly who it was. And she said, is this something you do? I do this speaker training, and I wonder if this is something that you do. I found your name on Google, I think you said. And then she says, and then I realized who you were.
And then I put two and two together.
It's so funny because you never know where your connections are going to lead you to, and so I know a lot of the things that Gretchen has done over her work, but we made the connection together. And so when she started to tell me what it was that she is teaching now and what she is doing now, I absolutely knew that I had to bring it to all of you, because we're always looking for new skills to improve our businesses, improve the value of the things that we bring to clients. And the other thing is that exactly what she teaches, the speakers needing to get speaking gigs, my clients have been asking me to do this for them for years, and I don't offer it as a service because I don't know how. So I thought, if I need to know this after doing this for 20 years, being a VA for 20 years, Gretchen is absolutely more than welcome to please come and teach us all how to do it. And so I welcome, after the horrible snowstorm and all the terrible stuff, and she's finally with us tonight. We can see her, so we know she's here. I welcome Gretchen Breuner. And Gretchen, I so appreciate you being here, and I just want you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll get right into your presentation.
That sounds great. Thank you very much. You are so right about connecting it, and you said something so validating in that your clients are asking you for this kind of support to be able to offer them. So I'm thrilled to hear you say that, because I have been saying the same thing, like, this is so needed out there. It'll help you be in demand as a VA. So I'll jump right into a little bit of background about me. How I came into the speaking business is a circuitous route, which is I took a road trip with my kids 8 years ago, and it turned into a book, and that turned into speaking. And when I looked out there to find help on how to get speaking gigs, I really found a lot of training on how to be the speaker. So how to present, your physicality, how to make great keynote slides, etc. But actually getting yourself booked on stage, I couldn't really find anything. So of course that led to, my personal journey of how to make this happen. There came a time in my business where it switched, and it was after working with the client you were talking about. I was now becoming a speaker, and I had people lining up behind me saying, "You've really gained a lot of momentum in your speaking. Can you do that for me?" And very quickly, I went from being the speaker to being the producer of speakers. And even more quickly, I couldn't keep up with my business. My business grew too fast, which is a great problem to have. But as a result, my health suffered, and I could no longer manage that kind of stress. So what I ended up doing, which is why I'm so glad you all are here today, is because I was training the speakers, the author, the expert, the entrepreneur, who doesn't have the time to do this. They don't, they need to be focused on other things. So I transferred my training to the admin or to the VA. And that is where everything clicked, because you as a VA, you're already adding so much value to your clients. And what we're going to talk about today will make you even more valuable, because the skills that this is going to teach you will make you in greater demand than you already are. And that's why I'm so excited to be sharing this training with you, because you'll start to feel like, I say in my presentation, you won't be groveling for clients, because they're going to be coming to you because you'll know how to do this.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's just go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So just a note to all of you that are on with us today, please feel free to use the chat box to ask questions, and Tracey's going to jump in with me, because once I go to my screen, I can't actually see the chat box. So it's not that I'm ignoring you, I just can't see you. So just a little housekeeping tip on that for you. All right, so we'll go to that. And Tracey, why don't you let me know, can everybody see, it says how to get more clients for your VA business. Yep. Can you guys see that slide now?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to learn today's training. I want to talk to you guys about how to attract more clients by offering speaker support, because this particular skill set is really in demand, and it's going to help you attract more clients more easily. It's going to give you the best tips on how to research for speaking gigs, because I think a lot of people don't understand the process very well, and that can get kind of confusing and daunting. And you know what? I'm wondering if I should, can you guys still see me? Because I don't know if you need to see me. Can you guys see me?
I can still see you, yep.
Okay, what if how's that? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, you're clear.
Okay, great. I think it's less distracting that way. So then what to have in your speaker kit, for those of you, a speaker kit is basically industry jargon for, you know, a one sheet, a marketing one sheet, a speaker reel, and then your bio, your hook, things like that. We're going to talk about the mistakes to avoid when you're working as a speaker support person or as a VA in this business. You know what? We were so efficient that you don't even need this slide anymore. But this is basically, you know, I went on this road trip. I got the speaking gigs. I was, you know, keynoting on the radio, on TV, and Parents Magazine. And that's how I figured out how to get the gigs. And then I transferred, like I said, to really training the support person of what I call the talent. The talent is, so we all talk in the same language. It's the author, the expert, the entrepreneur. So that's how I came to know this business. So what is unique about this training? I wanted to, oopsies, I'm going so fast. Speaking is important to your clients, and the reason I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this is because in 2008, there was an economic downturn, and many business owners actually had to recreate themselves to find ways to build revenue streams. And as a result, speaking really became a popular way for them to grow their business. Why these business owners recognize that speaking really increases their bottom line, they also are recognizing, and this is what happened to me and my clients, it took a lot of time and a lot of effort to help them grow their business. And why this says it is the fastest way to grow your business, it's the time and the effort that they didn't have, that the talent doesn't have. Speaking does give them instant credibility as an expert. In fact, I want to just pause for a second. While we're talking through this, you guys, take some of these notes down, because this is what you can use for marketing yourself when you're going out to different clients and approaching them to be a speaker support person. These are the things that you can tell them why it's so important that they speak, and it helps you, you know, recognize some of the marketing points that are going to help sell you. So jot these things down. Clearly, it enhances their own personal image and their brand. And the obvious one, it does reach a broader audience. And when you're talking to a client, selling one to many versus one-to-one is such a greater way to leverage your client's book, their product, their message, things like that. Obviously, they're going to have a greater impact. And like we've said, it makes you in demand. So today we're going to talk about the 3 secrets about speaking that likely your clients don't know, but now you will know. And again, these are all points that you can use in your marketing, which I think is so useful in trying to get your next client. So secret number 1, it is the best time ever to get speaking gigs. And the reason, I'm going to back up. Over the last 10 years, speaking has really changed. It used to really be heavy on the traditional live stage speaking venue. But there's never been a better time to get speaking gigs now because of the exponential growth of virtual stages. And so if you think about selling on a webinar, like we're doing today, a podcast, a telesummit, a conference call, a guest blog post, or a live stream, these are all different ways to get your message out there for your clients. So speaking has really changed, and there are so many more opportunities to talk about with the virtual stages, not to mention, which I think is really important, the virtual stage is the perfect place for your clients, especially if they're a newer speaker, because it eliminates a lot of those fears that speakers have. I mean, I'm sure most of you have heard that thing of people are You know, the fear of public speaking is the number one fear for a lot of people. And so the idea of having a virtual stage, you can do these speaking opportunities at home in your purse. So, and it's also a great way for your clients to work out the kinks and sort of, you know, feel more comfortable articulating their message, because you're kind of behind the screen rather than in front of a large audience all the time. So by not standing on stage, you can kind of work out those fears for your clients can work out those fears. So that's why virtual stages are so useful. In addition to it really is the best time ever to get speaking gigs. So what this slide means, over the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have this amazing shift of connectivity. Right now, there's about 25% of global connectivity. In 2 or 3 years, that's going to reverse, and we're going to have 75% global connectivity. So why is that so important? It's no different than if you think about how you will be able to reach more clients. Plus, if you think about any of your clients have written a book, or they're hoping, you know, or expecting to not only be called the best-selling author, but they also see huge sales from their book, only to be disappointed. That's happened to me too. But because there's so many more virtual stages than ever before, so leveraging your client's book or their product or their service, you know, some of them are big into coaching. There's never been a more lucrative time. And that way you think of these people running to the back of the room. It's what speaking can do for their business that perhaps like a publisher, for example, couldn't do. And it was recently when I was at an event, and I love this. So 5 out of the 6 speakers from the main stage asked the audience, who in here is a speaker? And about 85% of the people in the room raised their hand. And the interesting thing about this, though, is that again, okay, if not all 6, maybe 5 out of 6, all said you all should be speaking because of what it can do for your business. And then the same event, something happened where they had a panel, and there was a woman up there who ran a VA company. So she was up there, she was talking a little bit about her business. By the time she got back to her seat in the audience, she had a big percentage of the room literally running to her to give her their business cards. And I was in the room watching all this. And when I put these two things together of these guys that want to be speaking, but they need the VA help, and that's where I think this is the magic that really takes place. I guess we're going back to the virtual stages. I'm sorry I put my slides out of order, but let's just go through this really fast. Again, these are the webinars, the telesummits, the online trainings. Facebook Live is really big right now, free conference calls, Google Hangout, video channels. Some of you should take a look at Marie Forleo. She has a huge following on a video channel. It's another great way to speak. And then, of course, you have your podcasts, which I think are super useful because of the viewership, and also it's a real casual, it's informative, it's more interview style, so it's a great way to speak. So secret number 2, finding gigs isn't very hard. I'm going to take a quick drink. Hold on one second. So some of you might be worried about how to find gigs for your clients, and you needn't be, because finding speaking gigs can be, you can take as little as an hour a week if you know what you're doing to actually find speaking gigs. Because, for example, you can use LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, plus all the other ways of searching Google that most people don't know how to do, that you will do, that we'll talk about on this training. So perfect. Okay, where to look? I can't go through all of these only because of our time today, but let's talk about the few of the big ones on how to use these tools to find speaking gigs for your clients. Starting with Google. In my training, I actually talk a lot about researching specifically with Google. And for today, I want you guys to just start thinking about when you have a client and you are familiar with their message, their business. If you think about the keywords that you would use to describe their message and their audience, that's really important. So you're matching up the audience with their message. And the reason that is because if you get your client in front of the wrong audience, it does them no good. And then, of course, it doesn't do you any good because they're not going to be happy. So when you think of Google and the keywords, you want to match up the audience with your client's keywords of their message, okay? Then you go to the next step and you put in a geographic region you put in a month, maybe the month of the year, or you put the year in general. The more specific you get in your Google search, the better results you're going to have that are right for your client, okay? So let's just use an example. Off of the top of my head, two of the biggest areas that clients fall under are either leadership or health and wellness, okay? So I'm sure some of you on this training today have a client that falls in one of those two categories. However, leadership and health and wellness or fitness or, diet, they are so broad that in your Google search, you want to be really specific about those two areas that, as an example. So if you have somebody that's health and wellness and they're, raw food diet. So you would go, you could start with health and wellness, then you would go raw food diet, then you would go broccoli recipes, for example, or juicing or broccoli juicing. You want to say a region, so say we want to do New York and we want to search for November 2017. Okay, so what we've just done are the keywords, and you can note this down on your Google search. Keyword, then you have your geographic region, you have your month and the year, and then you go down from that as far as getting more specific. Okay, so that's Google in a nutshell. Other things, obviously with social media, you've got LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. We're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn in just a second, so we'll skip on to associations are a great place to find gigs. Online conference directories, local groups, Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions, everything like that locally will help your clients. You can get your clients speaking gigs there. A lot of them are looking for speakers every week, so that's super for you. Online alerts, article and publications, bureaus and agencies. So that's a great way to start. I'm not going to go into it today, but that is a way you can get in there and dig around and see what client or what speakers are talking about a similar message that your clients might be speaking about. You work backwards. You've got trade shows and convention calendars. Always a great way to check out for gigs. So on this one, for example, it's just a quick search I did on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has groups, just like Facebook would have a group. And these numbers, when I was just doing a sample research, I put in speakers and the keyword, for the group, and it said over 54,624 results looking for speakers. Almost 1,100 job results looking for speakers. Then there were 616 company results looking for speakers. And finally, there was 90 different group results looking for speakers. Again, this was a real broad search in LinkedIn, but it's just to give you an idea of how much is out there for you to find. It's just incredible. Not to mention if you just go in and use Google again, we use keynote speaker. So you would go raw food diet keynote speaker, and then you can work backwards from there. So the results for the keynote speakers in this example I was doing were in the tens of thousands. And again, you narrow that down by the amount of words that you use for your keywords. Because of course, all those are not going to be ideal for you in your client's market, but the search, that'll help you get started. I hope that makes sense. So as a VA, you too can do the search and find all these speakers, and it really does feel like shooting fish in a barrel, because you could reach out to them and offer your help for getting them gigs. And what do I mean by that? So if you go to LinkedIn and you identify speaker up in the search field, it's going to populate a list of profiles of people that call themselves a keynote speaker. Now you're going to go into their website, because on LinkedIn it'll say contact and you can find their website. You go to that speaker's website, it'll say where they've spoken or how they're doing it, and you can start identifying which speakers would likely need your help. So it really is, it's a bounty of opportunity for you guys. So this was so interesting when I was doing some research for this webinar, for this training. According to Vertalent, I hope I'm saying that correct, your virtual assistant industry is set to grow rapidly. Tracey, I'm sure you already know this, in the next few years, and the projected valuation of the industry in 5 years' time, get this, wait for it, is approximately $5 billion. It was staggering when I read that. It is such a huge industry that's going to explode in the next few years. And so now is the time more than ever to start thinking about how you're going to differentiate yourself, because I congratulate you that you guys are all in this industry and it's growing. Now start to think about, okay, I need to stand apart from my competition. How to do that? And that is offering speaker support. All right, moving on to secret number 3. You can help your clients look more professional and more desirable, which is a great marketing tip for you. So in hopes of getting more exposure or to build their positioning, many experts, or like we've called them talent, try guest blogging, they try media appearances, they try writing a book or contributing to other ways to get traction. And all of these things are great, and they will certainly help your clients get that expert positioning. But what is so interesting about being the speaker with representation is that you can get them an entirely different level of notoriety, of authority, and of money. So not only will your client's audience instantly regard them as an expert once you get them on stage, so you think about that. As soon as you go to an event and you have somebody up on stage, what happens in your mind? You look at them, they're automatically the authority. They're automatically the expert. So that is a little, again, a tidbit that you guys can use when marketing to your clients of why they should be speaking. It's that instant credibility. It's that instant authority figure, okay? But this is what's so important about that. As a VA, excuse me, I'm so sorry, I'm getting over a cold. But as a VA, and if you are now representing a client, so when an event host gets an email that says, "Hi, my name is Gretchen, and I represent Tracey." So automatically on one level, this host now sees you or your client higher up than other speakers because you are representing somebody. So that tells this host, oh, they're really serious. They know what they're doing. Okay, so it all happens on this unconscious level of, wow, I really want to pay attention to this. So your clients look bigger and you become, as a VA, as a speaker support person, more in demand, which is also great positioning for you. Oops. So it's kind of like this picture made me laugh because it's similar to how much better and more powerful an entertainer, looks with an agent. So even a newbie entertainer gets an agent because with representation, they look more professional. Is all of this making sense? And again, go ahead and put in the chat box, and Tracey, I'll pause here for a second if anybody has some quick questions.
Absolutely. This is really awesome. I'm taking notes like crazy here myself, and I know that everybody is for sure. One of the questions that Della had,
Yes.
she asked, what if a speaker wants to start with paid gigs?
Oh, great question, Della. And I'm just going to answer that right here because I don't want to get sidetracked on something else. So that is one of the most common questions I get asked is going from free to paid gigs. And Della, the question I would tell you to go back to your client is, what speaking have they done in the past? And of the free gigs, they're making this jump to paid gigs. All you got to do in your Google search, and glad you brought this up because on the results that you get from your Google search, it'll start talking about all these conferences, events, seminars. Those are the other keywords you're going to add in there. It'll give you that list. When you reach out to those conference hosts, those event hosts, you'll ask them, do you have a budget for speakers? So if the answer is no, don't dismiss it. It's still a valuable result, especially if it's the right audience. But then if they say, yes, we do paid speakers, now your client, that's a viable hot lead for your client. I've had clients tell me before, Gretchen, I only want you to focus on paid gigs only. And I'm happy in the past when I work with private clients, I would do that. But I also really encourage them to still always consider the free gigs if it is the right audience. Okay, so it's a really big point to make. If you have 100 people in the room and it's a free gig, but those 100 people are exactly who your client should be in front of, I guarantee you they'll be able to leverage their book, their message, their product, and make money from that. So does that answer your question, Della?
I think it does for sure. And I know for me, the people that I have been working with over the years, that's a really big thing. If they can get on stage in front of their ideal client and they're allowed to make an offer, then that's completely, that basically is a paid gig anyway, without having a paycheck attached to it, right?
And it's often, I'm so glad you said that, it's often the speaker will make more money when they speak at a free gig, because the event host, since they're not paying them, they know, they anticipate, they've talked about it, you've negotiated that your client will be making an offer. And if they got 5 people out of 100 to sign up for a $5,000 coaching package, there you go, that's your $25,000 fee that you would never get as a new speaker to come in and be a $25,000 keynote speaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I actually do a sponsor for an event who is a speaker coach. And so he coaches people on how to speak on stage. And
Mhm.
that's exactly, one of his big things is he said people come to him and say, I didn't take this gig, I didn't take this one, I didn't take that one. And he says, why not? Well, because they didn't pay me. And that's what he says exactly what you're saying too, is that,
Right.
there are different ways to get paid. And it's all about who the people are that you're standing in front of, and how you can, make that connection with them. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm glad you say that too.
Yeah.
I totally
And one
agree.
more note on a free gig, especially if any of you have clients that really are that new speaker, I want to hammer this point home too. Those free gigs, those Kiwanis, those Rotaries, those service organization speaking opportunities so help your client refine their message, find out what resonates with the audience, makes that connection so much better. So when they get on a paid stage, they will feel more confident. You do not want to get your client who's not ready to be put on a paid stage and not be able to connect and deliver. So again, that's why a free gig or a virtual gig is still so important for your clients to consider. Okay, moving on. Unless there's any other questions, I'll keep going.
No, I think you're good to go.
Okay. So, I love this slide. Okay, so take this down, you guys. These are your clients' pain points. This is what's going to sell you to them, okay? So the problem with your clients pitching him or herself, it takes them away from their gold. And what does that mean? It means all these clients that you're working with, they have a gift, like all of us have our own gifts. They have a message. And if they're going to be spending time researching and pitching for gigs, it takes them away from where their strengths really lie. We all want to play to our strengths. So that's the number one reason, like, you want your client to focus on what they do best, okay? Oh my God, this is so true. Pitching can absolutely overwhelm your clients, and it is known to be a time suck. And then they get stuck in the trenches, and then they're not advancing their own business growth, and then they give up, okay? So you tell them this is what will happen. So that's why it's so important that this is part of your marketing. A speaking funnel will dry up fast. I often think of it as like the state of California in a drought, and now we're not in a drought anymore, but it dries up so fast without your ongoing and consistent effort. And what that means is, as a speaker support person, you are the one that's already, if you've got tasks that you do every week, you just put this on your to-do list. 1 hour a week, 2 hour a week, whatever you decide is right, that you say every week I'm going to do 2 hours of research, or 1 hour of research and 1 hour of pitching, but you do it ongoing. And this is where your clients will fail, because they'll get really excited, they'll get a speaking opportunity, they'll be on stage, and they'll go, oh great, I don't have to do any more work. And then guess what? Nothing else is lined up, and then they die on the vine. So that's a huge mistake that they'll make. Plus, if they're doing it themselves, and I speak from personal experience, they will look less professional, because imagine me when I was pitching, sending out my stuff saying, hi, you should hire Gretchen. She's so great. Contact Gretchen. It just doesn't sound very good. So you will help them look more professional. Okay, so to recap, secret number 1, it's the best time to get speaking gigs because of that exponential growth of virtual stages, those webinars, the telesummits, the live streams, the conference calls, the blogs, the virtual channels, like I said, like Marie Folio. I want you all to actually take a quick look at hers. I don't work with her or anything, and this is not a plug for her, but she does a really good job. So I just want you to be familiar with that. And of course, podcasts. Excuse me. So secret number 2, it's less difficult than you think. You don't have to do a lot of work to get on stage. And I guess I want to clarify this, because when you're talking to your clients, being a really good speaker takes a lot of work, meaning they need to rehearse. They need to know their messaging. They need to be able to connect well with an audience. That doesn't happen overnight, at least for most of us, okay? But on the back end of finding the gigs, this is not rocket science. It just takes time and commitment and ongoing effort that we talked about on that previous slide. But, there are speaking gigs all over the place. So it's not that hard. You just have to know where to look and how to get them and what to say in your pitches. So speaker secret number 3. It is the bonus of giving your clients that expert positioning and that representation, because now you are that VA that can do this, because now you have the incredible advantage over your competition, understanding a little bit about what does it mean to offer speaking to your clients. So marketing yourself with those skills, and like I said, a lot of these pain points for your speakers are those marketing points. So you can market to the talent and in getting them more gigs. So it's a surefire way to build your client base, because there's so many experts, like Tracey was saying in the beginning of this. She's been in the VA business for 20 years, and how many clients have asked her, can you help me get more speaking gigs? These experts want more speaking gigs, but they don't have the time, they don't know how, and they're actually already in overwhelm, let's be honest. So that's all to your benefit. I love this. You really are the person who gets stuff done, because I think about if, the virtual assistants, the admins, the executive assistants, all of that group of people, you're already providing the support. You're the person that gets that stuff done. You're the right-hand person. And so thinking about being trained on how to pitch the talent so they don't have to, because not only will you'll be able to move your client down that speaking path faster, but this training will make you in demand. Okay, I'm going to say something again. Write this stuff down. This is what your clients are going to tell you when not all of them. Some of them will say, you're going to go, let me say, I want to represent you to, speak. I can offer this training or, this support for you. And the speaking client, the talent, may say, oh, I'm not ready to speak. My message isn't perfect. Or I don't really have my stage presence. And I don't have my marketing done, like my one sheet or my speaker reel. And this is what you say. That's great. Your messaging, your speaker marketing is an evolution. And if they wait to get started on finding the speaking gigs till they're quote unquote ready, they will miss out. And the reason this is so important is because when you start doing the research, the prospecting, the pitching for gigs, there is a growth time, a timeline of that, okay? The bigger stages take 6, 9, 12, 18 months to book, okay? Those are the big main live stages. But if you are trying to get your client on a smaller stage, like those service groups you talked about, like those virtual stages that we talked about, they have a much shorter ramp-up time. So you want to tell your client, I am thrilled to hear, paraphrasing of course, that you're not ready to speak, because that allows me to not only get started on the research, but congruently. You will congruently do the research while they start to refine the message. And then you get them that gig, that's that small stage in their, in their community. They go up on stage, they either, connect or they bomb. Some of them will bomb, that just happens. But they will learn something. And that's what's so valuable, because then the next time they go out, they're better. So by the time you've got them booked on that big main stage, they will have their message down. They will have an opportunity to get filmed on stage. That's really key. So you want to tell your clients, any stage they're on, get it videotaped, because that's going to be part of your reel. It's going to be either B-roll, which is just sort of that background stuff that plays, or it will be A-roll, which is their main talk. So all of that helps you tell your clients, like, I know what I'm doing about this. I'm the person that gets stuff done, and those objections, the I'm not ready, I don't have my stage presence, I know my reel, those are okay, because now you know how to handle them. You will start now be able to research and prospecting for your client in parallel to them, quote, being ready to speak. I hope that makes sense. It's a really key point, and it'll help you guys meet those client objections. I'm going to pause here for a second and make sure that was clear. Anyone?
Yeah, that is really clear. Actually, a couple of questions around that. Just when we're talking a little bit about speaker stuff, I have two questions. One of them is what is a speaker kit? So if you can just sort of detail what that is.
A speaker kit is the one
reel.
Yes, it's a one sheet, which again is just industry jargon for a marketing piece. It has a headshot. It talks about the speaker's talking points. In my training, there's a sample template that you get for those of you who are not familiar. It'll tell you exactly what's on it. It tells you where to put things like that. Their speaker reel is approximately 1.5 minutes to sometimes up to 5 or 8 minutes, depending on the stage, because sometimes they want a longer reel. But again, that's just a videotape of your client speaking. And I go into the training about how you can get a speaker reel up and going even if they're not speaking that much. I talk about that because there's, the whole chicken and egg. I can't get speaking because I don't have a speaker kit. Well, I can't get a speaker kit because I'm not speaking. And I talk about how to get around that because, there's ways to do it and do it well. So your speaker kit is basically your one sheet, a reel, your speaker bio, and then some talking points.
That's awesome. That's great. I have another question, and you may have answered it a little bit, how to get the client to focus on their topic and develop their one-pager. So I think it goes along the lines of not being ready, but if you can just speak a little bit to that.
So the question is how to get your client to get their one page done? Is that was the question?
I think it's Stella. So to focus on their topic. So I think maybe to choose a topic.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Stella, I love you. You're going to run into clients. This is really great because you're going to run into clients that are all over the page. They're like ADD and God bless them. I mean, that is part of the process. So don't panic if that happens to you. And it's almost like you're going to be doing the A/B split testing. So if your client isn't really clear on their messaging, obviously start asking them questions, pointed specific questions, and that will help define their messaging for them because a lot of times they're super clear in their mind, but it's when they start to speak, it gets completely, like Charlie Brown teacher. They don't know how to articulate it. That's normal. That's part of the process. And that's partly why doing those smaller stages, even on a virtual stage, 12 people on a webinar or whatever, that'll help them hone their message. It is part of the process. Does that help you?
Oops, sorry, I was unmuted. I was muted. She said, yes, thanks, absolutely. And she also said, I don't panic. I'm working with one for a year and it's still not clear.
That's a good way to be. You know what? I hate to say it, Della. They might have to go get some of the training that's out there that I've done, on story. And in fact, I have a great person who works with speakers on story. So if you want me to, at the end, I'll tell you how you can contact me, but I'm happy to connect you with that kind of person. Because if it's after a year, they're still struggling, then I would suggest they need help. And for you to go to them and say, this is a story expert. And she really is one of the best I've ever seen in the business. So I'm happy to connect you at the end of that.
That's terrific.
Okay. Is there any more, or should I keep going on?
Just one short one. Can you repeat the verbiage for those speakers that are not speaker ready?
Oh, sure. They're going to say, I think what they're talking about are the objections I was mentioning. So they're going to say their message isn't perfected, i.e. I don't know my message. I'm not clear on my message. They're going to say, I need to work on my stage presence. And sometimes that's use the word physicality, and that is literally how they are physically on the stage. If they are looking down and they back up into the back of the curtain, I'm already doing it, like I dropped my head. That's your physicality. Okay, so they may be working on that. Or they'll say, I don't have my speaker kit. They may not even know what a speaker kit is if they're that new, but they may say, I don't even have my marketing or my speaker one sheet, my speaker reel. That's where you're going to have objections. It all falls under the category of I'm not ready. And then you say, actually, you're perfect. You're exactly where you should be because this allows me to do the research in parallel to those pieces getting ready. So you want to let them know that speaking is an evolution. They will evolve as a speaker and their speaker marketing will evolve with them. They will constantly be, changing that stuff and improving it as they get better.
That is amazing. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. So getting yourself trained to market yourself as a speaker support, that all falls under what we were just talking about. So that leads into the speaker training system. And that's what I was talking about with you guys earlier. If there had been something out there for me to look towards, this really is, it's the God honest truth as far as I spent so much time and money and effort trying to figure this out. And so in putting this together and thinking about what you actually need to do to get your client on stage. And that's what's so important because I'm telling you, if they spend $20,000 on how to be the speaker, but they don't know how to get on stage, then it's all a waste. And that's why this part, I swim in a very narrow lane of how to find and book the speaking gigs, because again, all the other training will do them a hoot of good if they don't know how to get on stage. So these are the key things. Write these down, because this is what you're going to say to clients. You're going to take away the pain, you're going to take away the time suck and the overwhelm of researching and pitching for your clients. You're going to take it off of their plate. And that is probably the number one reason, this slide alone, for private clients who hired me. And it was to relieve them of this job, this problem of overwhelm and lack of time. And frankly, it's the number one reason also that people give up on trying to get speaking gigs. And again, this is perfect for you because you're already kind of that behind the scenes person. You're the muscles. And now you can take that off their plate. So that, I mean, I'm going to leave that, just you should all screenshot that because it's such an important selling point for you for clients. All right. Oh, meet Leo. Okay. Meet Leo. Leo called me up. I met him at a conference. I'm going to take a drink of water. And he said, Gretchen, you won't believe this. I have gone through 3 VAs because they don't know how to grow with me as a speaker. And that makes me think, can you imagine the pain or the lost income, not to mention the lost time and opportunity for Leo? And that's why with you guys, I think that your clients won't have that problem that Leo had, because you'll be the VA. You won't be able, you won't let your clients down because you'll know what to do. Again, so with the right training, you'll know how to best identify your talents, target audience, and gigs. This is such a big point. Again, if they're in front of the wrong audience, they're screwed, to be totally frank. And then conversely, you will be screwed too, because they'll be mad at you for not being able to, get in front of the right audience. So you'll learn how to do that. I teach you how to do that. You'll get tools to increase your open and close rate, and that means your open and close rate of the pitches that you're going to be sending out to event hosts. You will help your clients look more professional, and you'll be more attractive to clients because you're differentiating yourself from this huge industry that's growing. Thank God it is, but you'll be able to differentiate yourself because you'll be able to offer the speaker support. It is true that there are only 2 things that you can do to build a speaking business, and it's the talent has to invest their time, and let's be honest, they're not going to want to do that, or they're going to invest their money. And if they're already working with you, they're already investing their money. So that's what's perfect, because now you can say, look, you already have me in your back pocket, now use me to do the speaker support. So clearly, it's an easy question to answer. What do you think, your client's going to prefer? I learned the hard way. I did this all myself, totally burned out, and that was the wrong way to do it. So after all the mistakes I made, this is what I'm bringing to you, is how to do it the right way. What I mean. So here it is. It's the speaker training system, and I love it. I made a note to slow down because I get really excited about this. It is a 5 online training module, and it comes to you once a week, so you don't get overwhelmed, because we want to stay out of overwhelm, but it really is step by step, and it talks about how to research. The first 2 modules, this is so big, the first 2 modules talk about research alone, because it is so paramount to being successful on getting in front of the right audience. Then we talk about prospecting and pitching for gigs. We go all through the speaker marketing and the branding strategies and sample templates. So you get a speaker one-sheet template. For those of you, again, not familiar, it doesn't matter, because I give you the template, you basics can send off to Fiverr and say, put my client's headshot here, their talking points, their bio here, and you're done. So it's ready and made for you to go. You get the mistakes to avoid. Okay. What to include in your speaker contract and agreements. Okay, this is a huge selling point for your clients. Here's why. I was working with a speaker one time, or I knew of a speaker, I should say, and he got hired to do a keynote talk. About 30 days prior to the event, he reached out to the event host and said, okay, are you going to send me my check, my keynote fee? Yeah, we'll do that. Long story short, about 3 days before the event, you guys know where I'm going with this, the event was canceled. So in that time period of that 30 days prior to the event, the client, the speaker, went out, he spent money on marketing, on some swag materials. I think he spent a total of $1,500 on specific event-related items. Because he didn't have a speaker contract or agreement in place, he was totally hosed. He lost out on his keynote speaking fee, and he lost out on the marketing money that he invested for the event. So I talk about that because you will sell this ability to support your clients with this piece alone. It's worth the price of admission because you're providing protection. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm telling you, it's really important for them for their protection. We'll talk about the best practices for your speaker to make from speaking, from stage, and how to leverage that, and make more money for you. Plus, we also talk about how you're going to negotiate with clients, because there's different ways to do that. You will get scripts for emails, so you can get started faster. So it's the pitching idea is sort of an art. It's not one size fits all kind of thing. It does take some trial and error, but you'll get some scripts so you can get started. Each event host obviously is different. Each event is different. How you communicate with those event hosts will be different. And that's I think for me was sort of the fun part, because you're developing a relationship, which is incredibly important for success, is developing a relationship. So these scripts for emails will help you do that faster. Oh, you get a lead tracking template. Yay. Why am I so excited about this? I want you guys to think about when you are talking to a client and they're going to get speaking gigs, you want to identify 100 different leads. This template will help you stay organized. It'll tell you, put the organizer here, the event here, the number of people that are attending. If it's a paid event, meaning are the attendees paying for the event? Are they paying for the speakers? All those things. It'll help you stay organized, because I tell you, it's super easy to get disorganized, and then you'll miss out on the opportunity to book those speaking gigs. So this is huge too. The speaker reel tips. We talked a little bit about that. There's ways to get a reel built as your speaker gets more speaking gigs. And as we talked about, it's an evolution, but I go over how to do this simply and inexpensively so that you can provide this service for your clients. Oh, and you get the speaker workbook and the training guide. So every module, it's an online video module. You'll get a training guide with each module, plus additional, PDFs that we just talked about. But you also get a speaker workbook, and in that has a list of places for speaking and all kinds of resources that'll help you hit the ground fast and get up to speed. It's almost embarrassing to have this slide, because I have really invested over $19,000 in training and experience in the speaking industry. And the reason I put it in here is because I am now able to transfer that or pass that learning onto you. And I think it's really important, because I don't want you guys to feel like I don't know what I'm talking about in helping you build your business, because I do. And I'm excited to share this with you. As a bonus, and I think this is really important, you get a live call, because you're going to have questions. And I strategically do this call later in the training, because I want you guys to get your feet wet and get started and to know what you don't know, kind of thing. So that's, I think, a huge thing. You'll have an opportunity to ask those questions. Or even you may have a client and you're like, I'm not really sure how to approach this client. Do you have any recommendations? Things like that. So we'll be able to address those on the call. Secondly, you get a VA proposal sample. And what does this mean? When I was looking to work with a private client, I wrote up a proposal, and it closed this deal. It was a $9,000 client. You're going to get that as a sample proposal, because like what we talked about, what to cover in the speaker agreement, that was really important for your client. This is important for you. This is protection for you. The number one mistake I made when I was supporting speakers was trying to deliver a result versus effort. Your sample VA proposal talks about, I will research 100 gigs. It does not say, I will get you on stage for 100 gigs. Huge difference. There will be so many things out of your control, so I want you guys to have this in your back pocket for your protection on how to set expectations that are reasonable and that you are able to meet with your clients. So I'm thrilled about that. Again, to me, this is worth the price of admission. All right, so a couple things that you guys might be thinking, think it can help you get more clients. I know it will help you get more clients. Tracey was, on the beginning and talking about that, because this is such an in-demand need of being able to provide proper speaker support. If you don't think you can do this, it's not rocket science. We've talked about it. It will walk you step by step through what to do and when to do it. And it's just like I said, it's not rocket science. It just takes ongoing and consistent effort. If you can't afford it, we'll get to this point. I've made this affordable for you because it's not $19,000. Yay! Also, if you think it's not the right time, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. The sooner you can get started on researching for clients, the sooner that they're going to be getting the gigs. So if you don't do this now, then you too fall behind, and then you fall into that mix of a very competitive market if you're not able to differentiate yourself. So that's why I think it's real important. So what some speakers have said, I'm already seeing results. My team is getting me more gigs, and it's only been 3 weeks. So, I just like that. Of course, you could say results not typical, but it is something to realize what you can do for your speakers, okay, for your clients. Both of my executive assistants were trained by Gretchen. I can summarize the outcome in one word. Strategic. Again, getting A to B really well, really efficiently. Since my team started implementing her training, my keynote speaking requests have quadrupled in the last 6 months. If you want to increase your speaking opportunities, the system should be central to your plan. And now I want to talk about what the other admins or other VAs have said about this. So as an assistant to someone who does public speaking, it was important for me to learn the basics of how to best support my speaker. And Gretchen's course did that. So I learned how to maximize my research. That's why we spend the first 2 modules on this, because it's so important. How to put together a speaker kit, the one sheet, the reel. What steps to follow once the gig was booked, plus more. So Gretchen provided excellent training, was there, I'm here to support you. And then Jenny on the bottom, your system was so easy to follow, not hard. It really helped me to know what to do and where to start. So I love this because it really is the reverse of groveling. You guys, you don't want to, I guess, back up. We've all been in that position where we're like feeling like we're begging for business, begging for clients, and it's so not fun. But if you are going to your client saying, do you want to get more speaking gigs? I know how I can do that for you. It is the reverse of groveling. They will be groveling to you. And that's been my experience and the experience of others that have done it. Here we are at the grand finale. It does retail this training for $9.97. Tracey and I talked. I wanted to give it to you for reasonable because I believe so strongly that you are the muscles behind the clients. And so for $4.97, it's also available for 2 payments of $2.97 if that helps you. Of course, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. I am here to support you. I want you to succeed. On this slide, it does have my website. I put that here because you guys can go there for more information, but don't buy it through the website because that's taking you for the $9.97. I think Tracey's got this special discount link she can put in the chat box. This is really, it's a good deal. You should do this. I'm so thrilled to see what you guys can do with your businesses, especially for, it's a heavy-based, women-based business, and I want to support you guys and help you get there. And I'm happy to be here. I'm here now to answer any questions that you may have. I think, Tracey, I'm going to take, let's see. I think I'll stop sharing my screen, and that way I can see you and answer any questions. How does that sound?
Yep, that sounds terrific.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Hey, now I can chat box. Okay, so I'm here to answer any questions. Oh, good. You got the link in the chat box. That's great. Thank you. Elizabeth, that's good to know, but what if you're a newbie VA? Okay, so Elizabeth, let me make sure I understand the question. If you are a new VA, are you talking about how to get a client as a new VA or just what you should do as a new VA in general? I think I'm confused. Okay, so the first one, how to get clients as a new VA? All right, correct. Okay, so the best way, and we were talking about, you know what? Can you see me? I'm going to put me back on. Hey, there we go. Okay. Oh, it's so dark. Sorry about that. Those lights really strange. Okay, back to your question, Elizabeth. When we were talking about LinkedIn, I remember all those results that we had. I think one of them was 54,000. One of them was 11,616 or something. This is the best way for you to get new clients as a VA, okay? You go to LinkedIn. In the search field, up at the top, you'll put in speaker or keynote speaker. LinkedIn will then populate the results of everybody that identifies themselves as a speaker or keynote speaker. When you get those results, you go to that profile, and then on that profile, it will often take you to their website. And you'll be able to tell, are they really serious? Are they speaking often? Because a great way to distinguish it is on their website, it might say where I've spoken in the past. And if they're really a prolific speaker, they will have their calendar filled saying, I spoke at XYZ, ABC, 1, 2, 3. If they're not really speaking that often, that's great for you, because that means they want to be speaking. They consider themselves a speaker, but they're not doing the work themselves. And so on their website, they may have, I've shared the stage with, but they won't say, I've spoken at these events in the last 6 months. So does that help you? Does that answer your question? Great. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. Let's see. Is it being recorded? Yep.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything else that you haven't covered. You covered a lot all the way through, and I appreciate you stopping a couple of times for questions, for sure. I just wanted to make sure everybody sees the link. It's a nice short link. It's yourvamentor.com/speaker course. And I will send out the link in an email as well, so that everybody will have that. And it's easy to click on, but it's right there in the chat box as well, if you want to go and check out the course. And Gretchen, also, I'll send out your website as well and your information, so that people can look more in depth about the class if they want to, and also get in touch with you directly. So
that'd be great. And I'm here to answer your questions. And I want to really emphasize, I'm thrilled to be here, because I really believe in you guys and the VAs and what you're doing for value to provide your clients. But this kind of speaker training is so in demand. I actually have clients that still ask me, Gretchen, will you pitch me? And I won't. And that's my own now health boundary for myself. So what ends up happening is they're asking for people that have gone through my training. So for those of you that are really considering this, that's a great tip for you. Like, I can funnel clients to you guys because they're looking for people that are vetted on speaker training. So I put that out there. It's a totally worthwhile community to be in, and I want to help foster that in any way that I can.
Exactly, and that's exactly my role as well. I laugh to say that, my clients have asked me to do this over the years. I'm not going to take your course, and I'm not going to do this work, but I want to know people who can, because I firsthand know the demand. I really do. And, you know it because it's a service that you've provided for people, and you know that they still want you to do it for them, because there's just not enough people out there who know how to do it. And honestly, like, I was taking notes like crazy during your presentation, because I don't even know the things that you told us tonight. And they probably seem really simple to you, but they're things that I never would have thought of to go, I've done Google searches before, but never to that extent, and never to really understand, what parameters you can put in to be able to get better quality,
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's the difference. If people don't understand how to do an effective search. When I had private clients paying me $15,000, plus you get a commission on the speaking, like, that's all part of the negotiation. And it's understanding how to do that quality research to get the gigs. So
yeah, I actually have a client right now who is looking for this exact service, and I can't help her, and I'm not getting people who are qualified to do it. So if anybody wants to take the course,
hey, Tracey already has a lead for you.
In a couple of weeks, I know I've got a very busy speaker, and she doesn't want to look for gigs on her own anymore. That's what she's spending her time doing. Like you said, everything you said, it's exactly what she's doing, and she needs someone in place to do it properly for her and get her quality gigs. So it's fantastic. Yeah. It's timely. It's everything. So Della does want to know how long the link is good for. Do we have a time limit on?
Oh, sorry. I thought that was for you. Let's see. What are we on? Wednesday? Mm-hmm. Why don't we say through Saturday? I mean, perfect. I think that work for you guys?
Yep. I'll put that in the email that I send out tonight too.
Okay.
So. Perfect. Great. Well, I don't think there's any other questions. If there are, get them in quickly. I do want to wrap it up if we can. I know. Oh. There we go. One last question.
Yeah. Do we negotiate pricing for speaker? Okay. Yes and no. And what I mean by that is, if you have a new speaker, you want to, this is a question to ask. What is the budget when you go to the event house? What's the budget? That will help tell you what your speaker is going to get paid. That's a gold nugget.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Gretchen Breuner, Isn't she amazing? And she's so fun too. Like you're just an amazing teacher too. So the course, I know I've had a tiny sneak peek at the course, and there's a ton of information in it. I hope some of you sign up for it. If you have any questions, please email me, and I'll make sure if I don't have the answer, I'll get the answer. And
and two, if anybody wants story help, I do have a contact. So
that's right.
I think maybe it was Della who asked that, but again,
I think so. Yeah.
Email. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate you being here. Glad everybody's safe and sound and warm and not in traffic someplace. So
great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Tracey.
And thank you for this offer, because it's I know what a great offer it is, and I hope everybody takes advantage of it. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.